Hi, and welcome to Gaming Like It's 1979. Today, I want to show you the very first computer game that I remember playing. The year was 1978, and one of my best friend's dads had bought a TRS-80 Model I computer, and along with it, a cassette tape with a game called Santa Paravia and Fiumaccio. In some sense, this game is part of an earlier continuation of mainframe-based text games from the mid-1960s. But in another sense, this game might be the granddaddy of later strategy games like Civilization and, dare I say it, Europa Universalis. Santa Paravia is clearly directly inspired by Hamurabi, itself inspired by the Sumerian Game, which was made for the IBM 7090 mainframe in 1964. Now, a full deep dive into the mainframe versions of this game is beyond the scope of this video, but if you're interested, you should definitely check out Sean Haas's podcast, Advent of Computing. In episode 57, he goes deep into the lineage of the Sumerian Game. It's a great listen. For our purposes, it's enough to say that Hamurabi made its way to microcomputers and the BASIC language in the early 1970s by way of seminal publisher Dave Ahl. Santa Paravia takes Hamurabi's somewhat drab presentation and brings some more depth to it, as well as some very flashy, or at least flashy for 1978, graphics. Made by the Reverend George Blank from Leechburg, PA, and by the way, I'd love to know more about his story. He also made a game about clipper ships called Round the Horn. The game was first published, for free, as a magazine listing in Softside magazine. So, if you want to, you could actually type in his original listing itself. One of the nicest things about Reverend Blank's listing is that it's extensively documented in a way that many, if not most, magazine programs typically were not. So you get some insight into how Reverend Blank came up with his implementation. With that out of the way, let's take a look at the game itself. We'll be looking at the Apple II port instead of the magazine version or the TRS-80 version. We get quite an intro screen here. Only the best low-res mode graphics. I wanted you to hear the intro because music in 1978 in an Apple II game, not unheard of. That was pretty deluxe, actually, though. I am going to turn the sound down a little bit so it's not too distracting for us. Sure, let's take a look at the instructions. So, this is the basic outline of the Santa Paravia, but also of Hamurabi. You're the ruler of a city-state. A little bit of color here. Life expectancy was brief, so you may not live until the end of the game. If all players die before anyone becomes king or queen, then the one with the highest title wins. I never played this game multiplayer. You could, but very much I played this as me against the world, and I think most people played it that way. The computer will draw a map. It tells you a little bit about the display. If the horse and plowman are not touching the top wall, you need more serfs. And so the centerpiece of the economy of the game, which we'll get into, is if you distribute more grain, more people are going to arrive. There are other factors determining whether people leave or immigrate, are born or die. High taxes raise money, but slow down economic growth. There's a little bit of politics, I think, implicit in this game. How many people will be playing? Well, just us today. What's the name? Reverend Blank is a little bit reductive, don't you think? Okay, I think that's to decide whether to refer to you as Baron or Baroness, Duke or Duchess. It's nice that Reverend Blank thought of it at all in some sense. So what level? We'll pick the second level, Journeyman. All right, so here is the centerpiece of sort of the game's economy. We see that the rats have eaten a lot of our grain reserve. We had excellent weather and a great harvest. So when you first start playing this game, you're bombarded with all these numbers, and you really don't have any sense of, well, what numbers are good or what numbers are bad. So let's put a pin in this, that with our current amount of land, 5,000 hectares, 8,600 steers is a great harvest. So that may factor into how many we give away later. We can see that there's a grain price of around 30 florins, I think, or ducats, 30 for 1,000 steers of grain. We can see there's a land price that I have no sense for whether that's a high or low price, 2.9 per hectares. But let's go ahead and take, I think since it was a great harvest, I'm going to assume that grain is cheaper. So let's go ahead and buy some grain. How much grain? Well, I don't want to go overboard. We'll say 2,000 steers. Steers? I don't know. Oh, treasury, florins, right there. It is right there. We could sell land. We could buy a permit to allow us to own more land. But let's play this first turn fairly slow and see what our next choice is. So now we've got 11,500 in reserve, and the demand is around 6,000. We must release between 20% and 80% of your reserves. Well, if the demand is 6,000, I would love to release about double that, because I want to bring lots of serfs into my duchy, my realm. So let's release 6,000 from the reserves, which is about half the reserves. Okay, so now there are some formulas. You could read the formulas yourself in the basic code. We could see some serfs were born, some died, and 92 fled harsh justice. Interesting. So now we get to make some decisions about our state. We can see we made 811 gold florins. We've got a customs duty. I like that. We've got a sales tax. We've got an income tax. And our justice is harsh. So since serfs were fleeing, yeah, sure, that's making us money, but I would rather more serfs came in and figure out some way to profit from them. So let's change the justice. And when I play a game like this, I like to make one change at a time. So I'm going to leave the taxes and the duties all alone and just drop the justice to 100 florins. Press return to continue. And now we get some graphics. Okay, so what we see here is that the serf with the plow is near the top. And if I remember the instructions, if the serf is near the top, then they're all working. We're not underutilizing our land. So next turn, we might want to buy some more land. And it looks like this is all the land we could buy, I guess. State purchases. Okay, we have so many florins. Well, I want to immediately, I think, buy a marketplace, because I want to start, since I dropped the justice, I would like to somehow profit in another way. All right, so here we've had a fine harvest. It's a much larger harvest than we had last time, so that's really interesting. We can see that the grain price has gone way up, and the land price has gone down. So I think I'm going to sell some grain. We have a huge harvest, and rats are going to eat it if we don't sell it. So let's sell about, how much brings us down to just above 12,000. And now we have 626. And now let's buy some land instead. Buy land. How many hectares? How many can I buy? 2.3. I hate math. Let's say 200 should be about 430 hectares, if my math is right. Yes, exactly. So now we have 5,200 hectares. Great. I'm tempted to sell more grain. You know, I'm going to do it. I want a little more. I think that's a good price for the grain. I'm going to sell 2,000. And let's buy more land. Well, that'll put us really low, won't it? And we might need to buy grain next turn. Okay, I'm not going to do that. You must release between, again, let's release 6,000. 6,000 steers. Okay, so now this is interesting. No serfs fled our justice, which is great. We had more serfs immigrate than emigrate, and the market earned a little rent, which looks like it's almost offsetting the soldier cost. Okay, I'm going to leave all the taxes alone, even though we're a little low on revenue, but I'm going to leave it alone for right now. And let's see what our world looks like here. Our serfs are still at the, oh, look, and there's our market in the lower left there, that little blue and yellow thing. Now, of course, in the 1980s and 1979, I would have been playing like this with a green screen. And on TRS-80, it was just a very basic monochrome black and white monitor. The graphics were not even to this level. This is like, I think, I don't remember the exact number, 192 by 168. This would be the Apple II's high-res graphics mode. So the size of a postage stamp on your monitor. And TRS-80 was like blocky graphics, like something like, someone's going to get mad at me for getting this wrong, but it felt like, 40 by 20 or something like that. All right, so we don't have enough really to do much. We could arm some serfs, increase the size of our army, but I don't want to do that. Another great harvest, and the grain price this time is in between where we were before. Well, I'm going to go ahead and buy some more land. I don't think I want to sell... I don't think I want to sell much grain. I might sell a little, because if you don't sell it, the thing is, what will happen is the rats will eat it. At the same time, you want to have some in case that grain demand skyrockets, or if there's a famine or a poor harvest, you'd like to have some reserve for a down year. So let's see. I think we can buy another 300 hectares of land. Yeah, and I'm going to have to sell some grain. We have so much right now. Let's sell 10,000. Okay, and we'll continue. And again, I like this. Okay, more serfs born than died. And I think I believe our revenue does go up, our tax revenue, as our population increases also. We can see there's an income tax, and that's going up. Customs duty, I think, has to do with trade. You know what? What can we do with our income tax? Looks like I could bump it up a little bit. So let's bump it up to 6%. Can I? And that goes up to 50. I love that. Yeah, what I want to do is raise the income tax a little bit each turn until I see people starting to leave because of bad taxes, basically. All right. Now, one problem here is I still don't have enough to buy a marketplace. I've been buying land, and I probably really... Oh, I do. Look at that. Well, I'm going to immediately buy a second marketplace, which is risky, but I think it'll be okay. Long as we don't have a famine. Another great harvest. Sooner or later, I feel like we're due for a famine. You know what I mean? 32,000. Wow. Yeah, we're definitely... Oh, look at the land price is so low. I feel like I got to buy more. And the grain price is not as low as it could be. So I'm going to sell some grain. It's not a lot, is it? I'm going to buy some more land. We're going to buy another 200. Slowly getting that land up. Okay, we're going to release... Well, since I'm bumping my income tax, I think I want to release even more. We're just giving away grain here in Santa Paravia. All right, now we're cooking with gas. So you could see that not only did I have more people born than die, but now people are starting to move in because I'm giving away grain for too much money. Our markets are now paying for our soldiers completely, which is nice. All right, and people still aren't complaining about the income tax, so I'm going to bump it up. And you can see that tax went up substantially. I'm going to jump it to 8%. I like that. That gives me enough for another market take place. And our customs duty has also gone up significantly. Do I want to bump the sales tax? No, one change at a time. And now in this picture, we should see two little marketplaces. All right. What I really want is to save up 2,000 gold pieces so I can get a woolen mill. I can't do that yet. I'm going to buy another marketplace. Fine harvest. This is great. And look at the price of that grain. We are selling some grain, definitely. So I'm not going to buy more land this turn because I do want that woolen mill. So we're going to sell some grain at this wonderful price. The demand is about 7,000 now. So let's sell, let's see, 5,000. Not quite enough. Let's sell another 3,000. And I'm going to release only a modest amount this time. Okay, we're going to release, I'll say 9,000. Because I still feel like we're due for a famine. We earn some rent. More people still moving to the city. Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and bump the sales tax this time. Just by a little bit. Those markets are looking very nice. The famous markets of Santa Paravia. So now that I'm going to buy the woolen mill, we're surely going to have a famine or a drought next turn. Let's see what happens. Average harvest. Okay, so now it's getting tricky. You could see the rats ate over half of our grain, and we only had an average harvest. Oh, look at that grain price. Amazing. So this is the thing, is when the price shoots up, it shoots up because there's not a lot of grain to sell. So you can try and wait for that great price. You're not likely to get it. All right, so the reserve, the demand is almost what the reserve is. So we're not going to, I'm just going to leave it as is. I'm not going to buy or sell anything. I'm not going to buy or sell land. We're going to release. So the demand, I see. So the math here is a little deceptive, or rather the display is a little deceptive. The demand is 72.45. The harvest was 66.04. So the demand, that if you release to the demand, you're releasing 72.45 minus 66.04, which is on the bottom of the screen there. Oh no. Oh my God, I'm cutting it off. Let me fix that. There, now you can actually see that number. Gosh, this must have been incomprehensible. I apologize. The demand would be, releasing the demand would be releasing 1586. So actually, I'm going to double down on this. I can't sell the grain now because I've gone past it already. Well, I'm going to release 3,000. Ooh, lots of people died. Maybe my understanding of this is wrong. Maybe I just starved people to death. Sorry, guys. Okay, state revenues. We'll leave all that the same, I think. I want to see my woolen mill. What does it look like? Ooh, okay, so now you can see so many people died that the serfs are now no longer at the top of the land, which means we are missing serfs, basically. We have too much land and not enough people to work it. For state purchases, I'm going to leave this alone for now because we may need to buy, if the harvest was even worse, we may need to, in fact, buy some grain. Arsonists. Oh, my goodness. That's more florins than I have, isn't it? Yeah, I have a deficit of florins. That's terrible. So let's sell some. I don't know if I'm going to be going to the money lenders here or not. Okay, we're going to release 5,000. No, we're going for it. We're going to go to 6,000. I must release at least 20%. Must have parsed it wrong. People are dying. I definitely clearly don't understand the formula here for the food, which is kind of a drawback for a ruler. I think I wouldn't be a good ruler of a medieval Tuscan city-state. Okay. We're going to leave all that alone. Okay, we finally had a really good harvest, so that's good. Yeah, maybe I'm just wrong about that, and that demand is in fact demand above the minimum. Feel very dumb about that. Okay, we're going to release a bunch of grain then to try to get our serfs back. The maximum would be 80%. Yeah, I'm going to go for it. Didn't help all that much. They're a little closer to the top. I need a few good years. Well, I've got quite a bit of money here. I could start building a palace, which I believe helps my standing. But I'm going to continue to try to double down on the economy. So I'm going to buy a woolen mill and another marketplace, because it's clear that gold is an essential element to what we're trying to do. We have a fine harvest. Grain price is pretty high. I don't need to buy more land. I'm going to save that grain to release. So let's release 11,000. Our woolen mills are starting to pay off. That's pretty nice. So at this point, we're almost making money before we even get to taxation. I also noticed that people have not started really complaining about the tax. I wonder if raising the tax is affecting the willingness of people to move in and out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the income tax, because it's not making me all that much compared to the sales I'm getting from my woolen mill, and it might be dissuading people from moving in. Okay. That woolen mill is doing pretty well, so I'm going to buy another one. We're almost ready, I think, to start buying a palace. Maybe next turn. One thing I don't know is whether how much the military matters in this game. I don't ever remember getting attacked. There's all these things about you can have an army. Maybe that comes into play in the multiplayer game in a way that it doesn't here. Okay, again, I'm going to release more than I need to. We'll release, again, 11,000. I must keep at least 20%. Okay, well, let's release the maximum. Trying to claw our way back from that 1 year when everyone died. Ooh, yeah, boy, that looks like it's getting lower, which I thought we were net positive in serfs, so I'm not sure what that means. Maybe I honestly wonder, is taking them in is building the woolen mill and the marketplace, is that taking serfs out of the farming economy? I don't know. Am I turning them into merchants? Well, let's go ahead and waste our money like a good medieval ruler and start building part of a palace. Oh, okay, this is bad, man. This is real bad. I have no money because I wasted it on my palace, and there's a poor harvest. I know you people watch this game really to watch me accidentally murder a bunch of serfs. So we'll spend the rest of our 790 florins to buy grain at an exorbitant price. We got to buy a little more. 5 florins left. I love it. All right, and we're going to, what happens if I try and release the maximum? There we go. Hey, more people born than died in the middle of a poor harvest. I feel I came out of that one by the skin of my teeth. Okay, I like where all this is. That sales tax is looking pretty good. That customs duty is looking pretty good. I'm going to risk bumping the customs duty by 1%. You're building a palace, you got to raise more funds. And there's our little part of our palace right above the marketplace. So let's see what we get and compare standings. We're the only player right now. We can see we've got nobles, soldiers, clergy, merchants, serfs, and land. So I think this idea that building the mills and the marketplace steals serfs, I think that's probably correct. And I bet that by building part of the palace, I bet that increased the number of nobles. So there is a give and take here, but it makes so much money. It almost doesn't make sense not to do it, except I spent all that money on the marketplaces. I almost hate to not make use of that. Let's go one turn without building any of this, and we'll just try to maximize serf attraction, see what we can do. Excellent weather and great reserves. You were beaten up by robbers and robbed of 174 florins. It's going to take some time for that black eye of yours to heal. You'd better get your guards' act together. Okay, so that answers our question. Without the guards, we get robbed. 174 florins is not that bad, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to double down on grain, like I promised. We're going to buy 10,000 grain. That's hardly anything. I love that. I could, land's not worth selling. We'll still have enough to build another thing. So let's release. So the maximum I can release is 19,000. I'm doing it. One serf moved to the city. I released that much. Oh my God. These serfs, they take and they take and they take. They never give. Maybe it is the customs duty. You know what? Let's drop it to 24. And let's go ahead and also drop the sales tax a little. And let's drop the income tax. The income tax started at 5%, and it's not making that much. So let's drop that to 3 and see if that increases our economy any. Now, I don't think anything's changed in the picture. We're still not enough serfs to work the land. That's so many. I'm going to buy a marketplace and a woolen mill and a second woolen mill. I love it. Oof. And once again, we're really up against it. Well, look how expensive land is. This is good. This is a good time to sell land. I think we were somewhat overburdened with land anyway. We will buy some grain. We'll buy... I don't think I can buy that much, can I? I can. Look at that. I don't want to do the math. Okay, we'll release the maximum. People dying. But we are making money. So what happens if I change justice to very fair? Oh, you're kidding. Really? There is no situation in which cops give away money. Come on. Well, let's go ahead and do it anyway. Maybe people come wanting to be part of my fair justice. Ooh, that looks bad. We are short a lot of serfs. Oh, let's do compare statistics again. Merchants 51. I don't know. It doesn't. Yeah, it looks like some serfs became something else. Beaten up again. I'm going to sell some land again. I'll buy some grain. Okay, so this time for sure, I'm not building anything new. I feel like I could see Santa Paravia spinning out of control into a capitalist hellscape. I'll go ahead and arm a platoon of serfs, which probably is going to... Yeah, we're below 900 serfs now. But let's see what happens. Okay, fine harvest. Grain prices again in the sky, but we got money this time. So let's go ahead and buy. That's hardly anything. You know what? It's a time of famine. I'm going to double down on this. I'm going to spend my money on attracting people to Santa Paravia. I'm going to try again. I mean, it's better than nothing. Not great. All right. Again, I think I'm going to keep doing this, dropping our tax rates little by little until I start seeing some immigration. Certainly, we're generating enough revenue here, so I don't feel like I need that revenue as long as I have enough to buy grain. I'm going to stop building marketplaces and woolen mills at this point. Capitalist hellscape development is paused at the moment. And we're just going to see what happens if I can... Again, they're causing me more pain. We're going to buy more grain here. We're going to buy a lot of grain. I want to really push it here. Okay. The max market release is 50,000. The demand is 9,000. I'm going to try 9, 18, 27. I'm going to release 35,000 stares of grain. It doesn't help. I'm just wasting money. So I wonder if there's just a limit on how many people move to the city per turn. Okay, I'm going to drop the customs duty again. I'm going to go to 19, and we'll make the sales tax 9%, not 99. Okay. I'm also uncertain what doing the cathedral does. It's 5,000 florins, not enough yet. Another great harvest. Grain price is nice and high. Let's go ahead and sell 5,000, make a little money. Land price is pretty high. Place the maximum. Oh, a few more serfs moving, more being born. I think that might be the actual engine here, is that as you get more serfs, as long as you're feeding them enough, more will be born than die, and that should spiral, right? You'd hope. I'm going to go ahead and continue to drop the customs duty. It would make sense if customs was what brought people into the town, right? Now I have 10,000. I'm going to start building a cathedral. Maybe that'll bring people into town. That'll leave me with 5,000 to deal with famines. Fine harvest. We do have to buy some grain. We'll buy 20,000. And actually, it's pretty low price, comparatively speaking, to some of the famines. So we'll buy another. And again, we'll release... Yeah, I love it. There we go, finally. Okay, so dropping the customs duty does seem to have done the trick. And now we've got almost 200 people moving to the city. That's what I wanted to see. I'm going to leave all this alone because I feel like we finally got some immigration going. Let's see where our farm display is. Maybe it was the cathedral, actually. Maybe like... what's that book? Frederick Forsyth's book about the cathedral in England, Pillars of the Earth. Becoming a cathedral town is attracting people here. I'm gonna, well, yeah, I'm doing it. Gonna take a risk. What could go wrong? That could go wrong. Okay, great harvest. I think it's okay that our treasury is low because we're gonna make it back in taxes. In fact, I'm gonna buy some more grain. I'm going to release the maximum. Now we're getting more people moving. More mouths to feed, of course. But I think I'm okay with that. Got to get word out about how great Santa Paravia is. Only I'm going to do nothing this turn and just sit on that 2,700 because we might need it. A great harvest. Fantastic. And grain is very cheap. Land price is medium. So we're going to, again, buy some more grain. See, a lot of buying grain in this game. Buy 30,000 steers. And we're going to release the maximum. There we go. They're giving away food in Santa Paravia. You gotta get over here. Now, one thing I do not remember, honestly, is when does the game end, right? Like, what's the termination condition? Okay, look at that. They're almost at the top. We have finally clawed our way back from the famine. So now we can stop overbuying so much grain, I think. I'm going to continue to build the cathedral. Well, you know what? Let's look at the statistics. We definitely have more clergy now than we did before. We've got a lot of serfs. I think I'm going to continue to build that cathedral. Okay, good harvest. I do want to have enough grain that I can at least over-provision by a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go. Okay. Having these markets making gold for me is definitely helping me keep this afloat. Let's see what our cathedral looks like now. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Okay, so now that we've got a lot of income, we're looking okay. I feel like we want to start increasing our land a little bit. Go ahead and build another marketplace with some of that money. And let's arm another platoon, just because I feel like if we're growing... Oh, and that's the end of the game. I've died. Let's see, do I get some sort of ranking? I know that one thing you get in this game is if you do very well, you start getting higher and higher noble titles, and I don't think I even got one. I'm just Sir. So there we go. We get the final state, the treasury. Would I like to play again? No, I think this has been wonderful. So this has been Santa Paravia en Fiumaccio. I've seen people refer to it as Santa Paravia e Fiumaccio, which is weird because it's in Italy and E is Spanish. Whatever, be that as it may, I've really enjoyed showing this to you. Well, I'd like to thank you for joining me on this journey back to 1978 and to Santa Paravia in Fiumaccio, based on Hamurabi, based on the Sumerian Game. I've had a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. This has been Gaming Like It's 1979. Thanks for watching.